Good evening, friends, and welcome to Homecoming. I'm your host, Troy Body, a proud graduate of Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. One thing they say about Morehouse men is that you can always tell a Morehouse man, but you can't tell him anything. So, welcome to Homecoming. This event tonight, we want to take some time to introduce you to what the college experience is like at an HBCU. We want to answer any questions that you might have and prepare you for life at a HBCU and get you ready for the HBCU fair this weekend. And so we're going to kick off homecoming with our Grand Marshal, Dr. Monifa McKnight, a proud graduate from South Carolina State University, and Byron Johns, chair of the NAACP Parent Council and a Morehouse brother.
Greetings and welcome to the HBCU Homecoming event. I am Dr. Monifa McKnight, Deputy Superintendent of Montgomery County Public Schools, and I welcome you to the annual Historically Black Colleges and Universities Fair. As a proud graduate of South Carolina State University, I know firsthand the power of an HBCU education and experience. To this day, I have fond memories and still stay in contact with many friends who I've developed relationships with, sorority sisters, professors, all who have cultivated my life in so many different ways. Every day I am thankful for that experience. And today, I still make a pledge to be involved and be a part of the South Carolina State Alumni chapter. The rich legacy of our 107 HBCUs has cultivated great minds. We have a U.S. Supreme Court Justice, a NASA astronaut, and most recently, the first woman vice president of the United States, to name just a few. And we all know she graduated from Howard University, an HBCU. Thank you to all participating in HBCUs, our MCPS team, and the Montgomery County Alliance of Black School Educators for making this very important event possible. Be sure to ask questions, explore the possibilities, and please make sure you attend and enjoy the HBCU Fair being held on Saturday. Thank you so much, and best wishes to you all.
Good evening, and we are so glad to have students and families to the HBCU alumni event today. My name is Byron Johns. I am the education chair for the NAACP Montgomery County and the chair of the Parents Council within MCPS. So I wanted to first welcome you to this inaugural event where we will hear from a number of HBCU alumni who are teachers and in various roles within MCPS. I am thrilled that we are doing this and hope we will continue to do this every year. I am an alumni of an HBCU. In fact, I'm an alumni of Morehouse College. One of the reasons I chose to go to Morehouse is because of its track record of excellence. Obviously, people know alumni like Martin Luther King, but Maynard Jackson, who was the mayor of Atlanta. I ran track, frankly, with Edwin Moses, the Olympian. Spike Lee went to Morehouse, and he was class behind me. I was a physics major at Morehouse and electrical engineering major, and finished with both degrees in their 5-year program. After that, I did go to University of Michigan for graduate school, and I went to Yale for international management. So what Morehouse did for me is gave me the foundation that allowed me to, one, aspire and know that I could do the work. And it removed many of the barriers that many of my colleagues and people that I grew up with found that in predominantly white institutions, there is a burden sometimes that you feel to need to prove yourself, or you've got to go the extra mile to get half the credit. That was off the table. The expectation is you're going to do well. And one of the things I found my professors did there, they never questioned whether I should go to graduate school. they would jokingly argue, well, which graduate school I should go to. And so they framed the argument in a way that it set my expectations to continue on and on. It has been profoundly impactful and has opened doors that frankly I didn't know were even existed for me. So for that, I want you to all consider HBCUs. It has probably been the most impactful decision in my life and for the generations that come after me. So thank you. Please use the opportunity, the fair, all the things that we have worked so hard to make sure that are available for you. These are life-changing decisions, and we hope that you will avail yourself of the opportunities before you. Take care and enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you.
And I'd like to thank Dr. McKnight and Byron Johns for those reflections on their HBCU experience. And what surveys typically find is that students who attend historically Black colleges and universities feel more supported and feel they have a more meaningful experiences from attending HBCUs. And talking about meaningful experiences, one thing that I remember is every fall, it was homecoming season. And so we jump in the car or try to put our pennies together and figure out whose homecoming we were going to. So are we gonna go to Howard? I have $10 and a gas card so we can get there. Or we're gonna go to check out what's going on at FAMU. Homecoming was an amazing time of the year. And it was also like family because your brothers and sisters from other colleges and universities would come together. And so it wouldn't be a homecoming celebration if we didn't have roll call. So what we're going to do is state by state, introduce the historically Black colleges and universities from each of our states. And at the end, we're gonna make some noise, but we're just gonna pop through and just recognize. Now, if your university pops up, you can unmute yourself and give it a shout out. But at the end, we're going to come together, turn on our cameras, and celebrate HBCUs. So let the band start playing.
A&M.
Oakwood.
All right, Alabama's in the house. Let's go. Let's go. Us, anybody? All right, that's all right. We're gonna keep on rolling. Delaware, the first state. Delaware State University.
No, that's right.
All right, District of Columbia.
HU. You know.
Oh goodness. All right, next slide. Florida.
FAMU.
Where them Rattlers at? Where them Rattlers at?
The Wildcats in the house.
Rattlers.
FAMU.
Georgia. Oh.
Spelman.
Kentucky State University. Anybody in the house? Now you can also shout out relatives.
Hey, Southern University.
Y'all already
You
know.
heard me?
Y'all know what it is.
Yeah.
Y'all already know.
Jaguars.
Louisiana.
You heard?
All right, Maryland. Let's hear it.
Sean, you and me.
Seymour, baby.
All right, Maryland is representing. Let's go on. Mississippi. Any folks represent Mississippi? All right. North Carolina.
Aggie Mom in the house.
All right, thank you, North Carolina, for representing. Ohio, we have Central State and Wilberforce. All right.
My
Oklahoma.
dad graduated from Wilberforce. May he rest in peace.
Sending a shout out for your dad. That's all right. Oklahoma. Langston University. All right, Pennsylvania.
Lincoln University in the house.
That's right, the oldest. Let's represent South Carolina.
Bulldogs, baby.
In the house,
Yeah, Bulldogs.
baby.
Y'all don't know.
All right, let's keep our journey going. We're in Tennessee now. Tennessee.
I'm from Tennessee. I just didn't go to school there. But okay.
All right.
Represent
My dad went to Tuskegee.
All right. Gigi. Texas.
Tuskegee.
Any Texans in the house? All right, Virginia.
I love
You know.
The real HU.
Standard of excellence.
Okay, Howard, let's calm down a little bit now. What about West Virginia?
You did it? Oh.
West Virginia, and last but not least, U.S. Virgin Islands. All right, so what we're going to do now, so we have the Divine Nine. I'm sure there's one or two of you all in the house. So when I call your name, yell out, let us know that you're here representing Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity.
06.
All right, Alpha Kappa Alpha, are you in the house?
That's what they say.
All right, Phi Beta Sigma
No.
in the house. All right, Zeta Phi Beta. All right. Let me see. Any Deltas in the house? All right, Omegas. All right, Kappas, let me hear you.
Nasty Newts in the building.
Mr. Howard.
Daryl, really?
Iotas. Any Iotas out there? Last but not least, Sigma Gamma Rho, the Sorority Incorporated. Anybody? All right. Now, just one last time, you can decide if you're a member of the Divine Nine, you can yell out. If you want to represent your HBCU, yell it out. And so on the count of three, I want to hear some noise and get this homecoming party started. 1, 2, 3. Let me hear it.
Real HU, Howard University.
Word in the house.
Big T.
Let's settle down, please. Let's settle down. We got to remember, we got some more show to go. So thank you all for participating in Roll Call. I feel like I am back on campus and I'm much younger than I am today, and the world is fresh and new. And so we are going to move on. So one thing, if you haven't, if you're listening and you should be picking up, there are high expectations at HBCUs. You are expected to achieve and go off into the world and represent and do well. I remember one day I skipped class. I was taking a images of women in literature class at Spelman College, and it was Friday. And that was the day, you know, we all hung out near the bookstore and I was hanging out having a good time. And on my way through campus, Dr. Gale stopped me and said, Mr. Body, I'm glad to see that you are alive and well. But let me tell you this, next Friday, you better be in my class. And let me just tell you, I didn't miss another class. And so it's with those high expectations and sometimes reprimands that just what I needed to get through, persevere, and go off and have a successful career. So we're going to listen, have some more speakers come and share the HBCU history and student life. And so I'd like to introduce and welcome Julie Tannen and Liz Collins to share their presentations with you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Julie Tannen Stevens, and I am an administrator in Montgomery County. I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I went to, you heard it, the proudly standing nation's oldest HBCU. Cheyney University has been highly respected as the high education since founding in 1836. So we began a journey on a farm as the Institute for Colored Youth. And for 184 years, my university has strived for excellence in academics, character, and social responsibility. So I wanted to share some history of HBCUs that you may not be familiar with. All right, so I just wanted to start to share some history that you may not know, you may not be familiar with. As I stated earlier, we are the first HBCU, historically Black college and university, and we were founded in Pennsylvania. But Wilberforce University in Ohio wasn't far behind. That was the first HBCU owned and operated by African Americans, and that was founded in 1856. So let's talk a little bit about the now and then. So back in the days, historical Black colleges and universities provided Black students with basic education, and most people became teachers or tradesmen. But now the focus is just more basic skill development. There are top-ranking HBCUs like Morehouse, Howard, Florida A&M, and Jackson State, just to name a few. HBCUs started in churches and in basements, old schoolhouses, and even in people's houses. The 8 top 10 institutes produced Black undergraduates who went to HBCUs. And we have Robert Charles Bates, who was the first Black certified architect in the United States. He graduated from Claflin University in South Carolina, and he went on to establish the first architecture program to be offered in an HBCU in the 1890s. So HBCUs significantly contribute to the creation of African-American science degree, from agriculture all the way to social science, computer science, physical science. And for those who don't know, the A&T 4, Zell Blair Jr., Franklin McLean, David Richmond, and Joseph McNeil were essentially in the civil rights movement when they protested back in 1960 at a segregated Woolworth's luncheon counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. And they staged a sit-in after being denied services. So the sit-in was a movement that soon spread through all the college towns throughout the South. Now, countless students from HBCUs all around the nation continue to use their voices, their platforms to fight systematic racism and bring awareness to so many issues facing the Black community. So we are 75% Black PhDs, 46% of Black business executives, 50% of Black engineers, 80% of Black federal judges, 85% of Black doctors. We are 50 of Black attorneys, 75% of Black military officers, 40% of Black dentists, 50% of Black pharmacists, and 75% of Black veterinarians. We are doing some good things. I'm going to turn it on over to Liz.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nora Collins. I invite you to refer to me as Liz. That's my middle name, and that's how I'm referenced by my friends. So I welcome you to call me Liz. I'm proud to represent Howard University, where I attended twice because it was so nice. So I did my undergrad and my graduate there at Howard University. Great institution for learning. I welcome it. If you are interested in attending Howard University, first visit, then apply, then attend. I am also a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So I proudly represent Howard and Delta as I present life on campus at an HBCU. So tonight we're going to explore a little bit about the many facets of life at historically Black colleges and universities. So what is life like? So on an HBCU campus, it's like no other. You will experience dorm life, classes, networking, student union, campus traditions, Greek life, campus celebrities, diversity, real world preparedness, homecoming, sports, and marching bands. So that dorm life. What is that dorm life like? Well, living on campus is an amazing experience that allows students to create lifelong friendships and bonds. Dorms are structured in various ways: gender-specific dorms, apartment-style housing, and for some, off-campus housing. And you'll notice oftentimes when they recognize Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, they oftentimes reference her friendships that were founded not only at Howard, but also in the dorms and while she pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Classes. So classes at an HBCU vary. Your class size can range from as small as a few students in a small class to larger size classes in lecture halls. One thing that is consistent is that you have the opportunity to work closely with your professors. However, for the classes that are much larger, keep this in mind. It's easy to become a number. So in order for your professor to know who you are, it is your job to get to know your professor, visit during office hours, ask questions after class, and email on a consistent basis. Networking. The networking opportunities you can gain at HBCUs are unparalleled. Corporations know the value in hiring and working with students at HBCUs. And as a result, we find that many doors are open for students attending HBCUs. Matter of fact, till this day, I reach back to many of my student friends at Howard and ask them about any youth they might know who are interested in becoming teachers. So that's the power of networking. Student union. Yes, I got great memories of my student union days. So the student union serves as the hub of the campus life. So at Howard University, it was referenced as the Blackburn Center. Here, you're likely to see step shows, dance performances, fashion shows, get some great food, and purchase something special. Oftentimes, that's also the location that's overrun during homecoming because there's so many people to see and hook up with. Traditions. So tradition is very important at an HBCU. Our royal courts, our drive for equality and civil rights, our graduation ceremonies are just some of the traditions we have that bring us together as a family. Oftentimes, HBCUs also celebrate convocation, and that's typically a very large event where alumni come back, those who have given to the Alumni Association. And the sole purpose is to recognize the founding of the school and to keep focus on what we're here to do. Greek life, the Divine Nine. The Divine Nine consists of the 9 Greek sororities and fraternities you can find on an HBCU campus, which you just heard us do our calls collectively. They are Alpha Kappa Alpha, Delta Sigma Theta, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma Rho. Those are the sororities. And the following are the fraternities: Alpha Phi Alpha, Phi Beta Sigma, Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, and Iota Phi Theta. Celebrities. So HBC graduates have gone on to do some pretty amazing things. Spike Lee, Debbie Allen, Felicia Rashad, the late Chadwick Boseman, Sean Puffy Combs, Thurgood Marshall, Toni Morrison, Anthony Anderson, Laz Alonso, Spike Lee, to name a few. So keep in mind, depending on who you're in conversation with, it may be referenced that HBCU does not grow powerful people. I'm here to say the contrary. Absolutely, HBCUs can be relied upon to grow not only influential, but impactful people. The Black diaspora. One of the amazing things about an HBCU is the wide range of people that attend them. You will find students from all ethnicities, geographical locations, socioeconomic groups attending. While I was at Howard, I met people from all over the world, from Africa to the smaller island nations. And it was beautiful. We all came together every Friday at the flagpole, which caused some problems if you weren't attending class. Real world preparedness. The ability to gain real-world experiences as a student of an HBCU is widely acknowledged. Students are given these opportunities from their professors, their majors, and from the activities offered at their schools. Oftentimes, there are partnerships that occur on the campus, and if you put in the legwork, you can find opportunities in the summer with corporations that could lend you a job in your future. Yes, homecoming. Without a doubt, homecoming at an HBCU is something you must experience at least once. The fashion shows, the step shows, the games, the music, the vibe, the family, it's indescribable. Matter of fact, those who attend an HBCU and those who don't start planning months out for their agenda for the homecoming weekend, which starts a week early. So look forward to, once this COVID lifts, attending an HBCU homecoming if you're not going to an HBCU school after this presentation, but hopefully we'll change your mind. Step shows. There's nothing like a step show. So stepping is a staple in the Black community and is seen at every HBCU. Whether the steppers represent one of the Divine Nine or the school step team, there is nothing like an HBCU stepper. And in an effort to prepare for these step shows, the sororities and fraternities, they start practicing months out. And the precision in which they present themselves is incomparable. Marching bands. If you didn't know before, now you do. There is nothing like an HBCU band. They get the party started. The drum majors, the majorettes, the dance sequences, the performances, and the drum line. The HBCU band helps to energize and invigorate us all when we hear and see them play. Oftentimes, the HBCU bands are involved in the parade, which kicks off Saturday morning prior to the game. And oftentimes, after the game, there is the Battle of the Bands on the yard. Be sure you check it out. Sports. HBCU athletes are just as competitive as at any other institution. HBCU alumni have gone on to many national collegiate and professional championships. One namely Walter Payton, Jackson State all-time rusher for Chicago Bears. The final word. There's 10 reasons to consider going to an HBCU. First-rate education. Some of the best colleges and universities in the country are HBCUs. Caring professors and faculty. Classes and extracurricular activities tailored to African Americans. A supportive atmosphere. Diversity, empowerment. A chance to continue the legacy. Alumni associations for graduates of all HBCUs. Scholarships and grants. And last but certainly not least, you'll be in good company.
Yes. And I feel privileged to have such good company in this space with all you educators and administrators who are graduates and representing your HBCUs. Yes. So I applaud your excellence as well. So thank you, my HBCU sisters. And for the next part of our show, of our homecoming event, we're going to hear from some of our very own MCPS staff, and they're going to share their why as to why they chose an HBCU.
The reason why I decided to go to an HBCU was because I wanted to be around like-minded people that look like me.
I graduated from a small high school in Columbia, Maryland, and I was really only one of 50 people of color in my graduating class.
Throughout my time from elementary, middle, and high school, I didn't really have a lot of role models and or teachers of color. And it was very instrumental for me to be in a place that I felt supported.
I knew I wanted to go somewhere that was full of culture and history.
At Stonegate Elementary School, we watched a film strip on Martin Luther King. And in the film strip, I learned that Martin Luther King went to Morehouse College when he was 16 years old. And in third grade, I decided that's where I was going to go to college.
I applied to 3 different universities. 2 of them were historically white institutions, 1 HBCU. The biggest advice I can tell you that you'll get a great education wherever you decide to go. But of the 3 that I applied to, the HBCU was then reached back and they gave me the encouragement.
A group of my friends, we rented a car, and for our spring break, we headed south and we hit every HBCU down to Virginia. And I can remember stepping on the campus of, or really every campus we stopped at. We went to Hampton, Howard, Norfolk State, Dell State, Morgan State. But it was something about stepping on the campus of Hampton University where I just felt at home.
I knew I wanted to be in an environment and in a space that was going to uplift me and enhance me, in a place where I could broadcast my strengths.
Walking the campus, just looking at the beauty of the campus, feeling the energy of the students, but most importantly, seeing all of these Black and brown faces from top to bottom was magical to me.
Seen a lot of professors that were also of color too. That was also very inspiring. You know, representation matters, right? So it motivated me to see oh, not all professors are white.
I am a daughter of Howard University, and it was the best decision that I ever made in my entire life.
An HBCU for me was the place that I was given the support that I need to develop as a well-rounded human being.
I'm glad that I was able to be around an environment filled with people who really loved on me and supported my journey.
It was the best decision, intellectually, academically, even professionally, that I have ever made.
My experience going to HBCU has forever changed me, and I encourage you all to highly consider it.
Love my HBCU.
And I think we all love our HBCUs. That was excellent to hear from so many staff members of why they chose an HBCU. And for me, it's home. It's always home. I think about just the friendships and the relationships and the education that I got at my HBCU. So we have come to the moment that we've all been waiting for, and we're going to enter our first panel discussion. So I want to introduce to you the hosts for our panelist section, Lauren Holmes and Clark Montgomery. I'm going to turn it over to you two.
Thank you so much, Mr. Body. We are going to share the moderator portion of tonight's segment with the question and answer. My name is Lauren Holmes, and I am a proud graduate of Howard University. Woo! Two-time graduate. It was so amazing, like Ms. Collins said earlier, that I decided to go twice. And as I said earlier in the video, I consider myself to be a daughter of the university because Howard took such great care of me. And so I'm going to pass the mic over to our two other moderators to introduce themselves.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Clark Montgomery, a proud graduate of South Carolina State University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Also representing tonight, as you saw, Dr. Moneefa McKnight. We are very proud of her representing South Carolina State. And I am a graduate of Bowie State University Graduate School, Bulldog Nation. Thank you, and I look forward to asking those great questions tonight. SCSU in the house.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charles Feemster, and I'm a proud graduate of North Carolina Central University, the home of the Eagles of Durham, North Carolina, where Eagles soar to new heights every day, and we're about truth and service for all. Don't forget it. And it's such my honor to be here to serve as a moderator for tonight, just to encourage someone to consider an HBCU. So we're looking forward to getting information, asking questions, and getting information to you that will help you make the best decision of your life.
So our first question for the evening will go to Ms. Nadine Allen. The question is, how did you and your family finance your college education?
Hi, I'm Nadine Allen. I am the proud graduate of Bowie State University. I loved it so much. I attended twice, so I'm an undergrad and graduate school. I'm a school counselor here in Montgomery County Public Schools. How I paid for college. So I paid for college several ways. I did scholarships. I got a scholarship for being the first in my family to attend a college. So I got a scholarship based on that. I also got academic scholarships. I got a Pell Grant because that's something that you receive from low income housing. I also got work study, Maryland State Scholarship, and I also had to take out student loans. And that's how I funded college. And as well as I was I was also in public housing, so I also received a scholarship through public housing as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next question is going to go to Stephanie Lewis. And Stephanie, if you would talk to the idea of work study, are there any panelists that had the experience in work study, and how did it help finance your college education?
Well, first, I'd like to say good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Lewis. I am also a proud Howard University alumni. I am also a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And within the county, I am a speech language pathologist. So to answer your question, while I was at Howard, most of my funding was through loans. However, I did have the opportunity to have work study. And I remember it was actually a tutoring program. Most of the times with that particular funding, it was to help out with small things, buying books or additional school supplies from the bookstore. In addition to that, I also had the support from a program called the Student Support Services, called the TRIO program, because I was a first generation college student.
Fantastic. And so we appreciate you sharing that way of getting through college. So I'll turn the next question over to Lauren.
All right. Our next question is for Miss Khadija Barkley. And our question is, are there other factors besides ACT and SAT scores that qualify a student for scholarships? If so, what types of scholarships are available at HBCUs?
Well, good evening, everyone. As Lauren shared with you, my name is Khadija Barkley. I am a graduate of Spelman College. I attended Clark Atlanta University to get my certification to teach. And I also attended Bowie State University for my graduate studies in administration. So the question is, are there other factors besides standardized testing? And I will tell you, invariably, yes. Every experience you have where you get a chance to have activities within the community service, those students that have a number of SSL hours, they can qualify for scholarships. There are so many scholarships that the Divine Nine, I also serve as a scholarship chairperson for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Xi Sigma Omega chapter, and we give about $20,000 every year in scholarships. And so each year our scholarships come out during the month of November, and they're usually due in January. This year for seniors, that deadline was January 29th. But that's just one chapter. You know, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority has several chapters in this area, and all of them give scholarships, just like the other Divine Nine sororities and fraternities. But I just say that not only SAT and ACT, community service, your grades, any experiences that you've had in working, there are so many things that colleges and universities look at because they want to have a well-rounded student body. So just like you're looking at various opportunities for you to attend colleges and universities, HBCUs are also looking for individuals that are well-rounded, that can be dynamic individuals on their campuses.
Thank you so much, Ms. Barkley. Absolutely. And thank you for that information. Our next question, we're going to ask the same question to Ms. Tia Scott. Are there other factors besides ACT and SAT scores that qualify a student for scholarships? And if so, what types of scholarships are available at HBCUs?
Hi, my name is Tia Scott, and I am a proud graduate of Howard University. And within the county, I am the court liaison and also a pupil personnel worker. Yes, in addition to SAT scores, there are other scholarships, other things that you can do to qualify for scholarships. And some of them are just going into your career center and looking there for the various organizations who have scholarships to offer. Some of the scholarships are the Bonner Scholarship. There's also athletic scholarships. I'm sorry, and the Bonner is for student service learning hours. As Ms. Barkley said, Greek organizations. There are students who and faculty who attended or maybe taught at the high school that you go to, and they offer scholarships. Various organizations, such as one of the organizations I belong to, the Maryland Association of Pupil Personnel Workers, we give scholarships. State grants. There are scholarships that you can qualify for by writing essays or belonging to particular groups. There are so many scholarships that are available out there to students.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. This young lady has already talked about campus life, did a great job tonight on the presentation about campus life. Her next question goes to Ms. Liz Collins. What happens if you get sick at the campus or college?
That's a great question. I'm glad I'm answering it. So I remember when I got sick my first year in the first month and I had no clue what to do. So typically there's an infirmary on every campus. So know where the infirmary is. But I lived off campus my first year because they ran out of housing. So I didn't know where the infirmary was. So your next best bet is to identify where the patient first or minute clinics are. Try to get some good sleep. So your first year, let's be real talk. You're gonna wanna party yourself silly and do class. And you're gonna get sick. End of story, that's all I'm gonna say. You're gonna wanna party. Moms, dads, I know you don't wanna hear this. It's hard to find the balance. You're gonna burn the candle at both ends and the middle. You're gonna get sick. So if you can't find a minute clinic, make sure you got your airborne and a bottle of water. Make sure you take some zinc. That'll strengthen your immune system, some elderberry. Liz, I don't do none of that. All right, well then get you some tea and make sure you get some sleep. If you're sick, notify your professor, no excuses. Crawl out the bed and email them and let them know you're sick. And always have a study buddy or a partner that can update you on any information you missed if you miss class, and call home to mom, because something about moms know what to do. If you have a dad who knows what to do, call him. If you got a auntie or a tia and she makes you feel good when you call her. And then make sure you do what? Get some sleep. That's all. That's it. That's all I have. But don't go to the party sick, because then you're just going to get sicker. There'll be more parties. There'll be more parties.
And I think you forgot to add, eat those great meals in the cafeteria.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Power up. Eat your food. That's right.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. So our next question is for Ms. Jasmine Muhammad. What were some campus activities, clubs, and or events that you participated in for fun on campus?
Jasmine Muhammad. I am a 7th grade teacher at Francis Scott Key Middle School. I am a proud graduate of the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. And I loved it so much that I also attended there twice. I got my undergraduate degree in 2011 and my master's degree in 2013. So what were some things that I did that were fun? I was an orientation student leader, which is an organization that pretty much welcomes the incoming freshman class during orientation. So during those summer visits, a lot of schools do overnights. So we were a group of about, I think it was like 40 of us, and we just facilitated all the campus tours. We answered all the questions, very similar to what this is right now. And that was a paid opportunity. So you can always find other opportunities on campus that might not go through financial aid, but it is something that can offset the cost a little bit. I was also a campus life mentor. And that's the same thing as an orientation student leader, but you follow the freshmen throughout the year. And you're like a mentor to them. You ask questions, you answer their questions, you give them the information, especially if they have no friends or it's difficult for them to make friends, they're far away from home. So that was really fun. We had modeling troops. Shout out to Couture and Verge. We had 2 modeling troops. We had hometown organizations. I was from New Jersey, so we had New York, New Jersey connection. There's a Metro Aggies group. There was a group for those from the Midwest, from California, from Atlanta, from Houston, from Florida, people who came from out of the country. Like we had a hometown organization for everybody. A&T is very inclusive. And we had organizations for students who spoke different languages. Something else, I'm trying to keep it under 2 minutes. We had some other fun stuff. We had gym jams. I don't know about gym jams during COVID and after COVID, but Gym jams were super fun. And also Greensboro is a very college oriented place. So shout out to Bennett College. They were right across the tracks from us. We had the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, Guilford College, Guilford Tech, and there was like a community college in the area also. So it's very college oriented. You will always find someone to meet. I encourage you all to apply to the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University.
Thank you so much, Ms. Muhammad. It sounds like you had a great time on campus.
I did.
All right.
Oh, I didn't mention GHO, but I'll get another opportunity to share that.
Yes, we can't wait. So our next question actually is the same question for Dr. Kavina Griffith. So what were some campus activities, clubs, or events that you participated in for fun on campus?
Thanks, Lauren. Hi, I'm Kavina Griffith, and I am representing 2 historically Black colleges and universities. For my undergraduate degree, I attended Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama. And for my doctorate degree, I attended Bowie State University, and I am a recent graduate from there. And so I'll reflect a little bit on my undergraduate opportunities in terms of my extracurricular activities. Things that I were involved in included research organizations. So I knew that I wanted to attend grad school, so I made sure to start getting my foot in the door of research when I was an undergrad student. I attended college in Huntsville, which is a college town of sorts, and Alabama A&M is there, and University of Alabama at Huntsville. And so I made sure to have myself in that research world. I knew that I wanted to apply to master's programs and doctorate programs. And so starting those research groups. I was also a tutor for statistics on campus, which was something that no one wanted to do. And so I made some really good money doing that on the side, tutoring stats. And I was a part of SGA, the psychology club. I was a psychology major then. Just making sure to get my foot in the door to become that well-rounded. You'll hear that a lot when you go into college and you might want to pursue graduate school. They want a well-rounded applicant. They want you to make sure that you have academics and you can also handle something else. And so I was looking for those well-rounded opportunities during my college years to make sure that I was involved in. And then as I attended Bowie as well, making sure that I was continuing those same practices. And so there are opportunities to have fun. There are opportunities to have fun and work, and then there are opportunities to work. And so once you get in, you're definitely worrying about trying to adjust, but you do have to make a shift into thinking about what's next for your life. What's next and what your plans are for your life, and what can you be involved in so that you can reach your goal.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Griffith.
Okay, so we'll come upon the next bit of questions, which talks about housing experience. And this will go to 2 people, Miss Daphne Ado and Alexa Jeffries. So this question asks, what was your campus housing experience like? And how did the physical and social environment of the campus housing impact your college experience? And I'll start with you, Miss Alexa. We'll start with you first.
Hi, excuse me. My name is Alexa Jeffries, and I am a middle school PE teacher at Argyle Middle School. I attended Winston-Salem State University in North Carolina, as well as North Carolina A&T. I know that if anybody knows about school, it's, they're head to head. So I got both degrees. Do your housing application, send your money in. But I wasn't able to get housing my first year on campus. So they sent me my money back and they sent me an apartment list. Luckily, I was able to find a really good apartment for 2 years, but that was my experience. And with that, because I didn't stay on campus, I didn't have those connections like everybody was making. So for the first 2 weeks, I was actually hanging out with my grandmother and my aunt because they were living in Winston-Salem. But once you started getting out there and doing those extracurricular activities, I found a group called Northern Connection. And that's when I actually started meeting people. So that's how I was able to, overcome not staying on campus, but also still feeling that I'm still involved in the campus life. Thank you.
Okay. And Daphne Ado from you?
Yes.
Thank you, Alexa.
Yeah, I lived on campus the entire 4 years. I lived in high-rise dorm at North Carolina A&T State University. I worked in that dorm, working with freshmen and sophomore students. I created a block of students who had the same major so they could have study sessions together. I also did an internship I was a speech communication theater arts major. I worked at the jazz radio station there and the newspaper as well. I did a lot of support with the students and work with my professors a lot. I'm more or less of a person that wants to embrace my professors, so that really helped me get through the university.
Thank you so much. And those of you students who are listening, the housing, the education doesn't stop in the classroom. The housing situation that you're in the HBCU helps you succeed because of that support. So I'll go to our next question with Clark.
Thank you. So I think the young lady talked about, Ms. Jeffries, about rivals of North Carolina A&T as well as Winston-Salem State. But for the Bulldogs in the house, North Carolina A&T was the rival of South Carolina State for those my Aggie friends in the house tonight. So can you talk a little bit more about those extracurricular activities for students, Ms. Jeffries?
Yes, I can. So like I stated before, I was part of Northern Connection, which, they anywhere from Delaware, north of Delaware, it was all the people that were from those states. So we did, football games, got to know. So it was a sense of having people that were kind of like you from the north, far away from their families. Also, I was able to join our majors club. I was a sports management major, so I was able to join that. That was able to open up a lot of opportunities for me. Intramural sports, especially if you're used to playing sports in high school, intramural sports was a great way to meet people as well. I was on the volleyball and I also did basketball as well. I was on the travel basketball. So I was able to go to different schools and play against other teams. We actually won the championship against the Wake Forest intramural team. So that was an amazing accomplishment for us. So just get involved, make sure you get those extracurricular activities, but also make sure you have that balance as well. But get out there, do the extracurricular activities, and that's how you start to meet more people. Also, you become that well-rounded student as well.
Thank you. And the next question will come from our Bison friend over there at Howard University.
All right, yes, the Bison and Howard Pride. So we're gonna pause here for a second and we're going to watch a brief video clip of more of our MCPS employees sharing why they chose an HBCU. Let's take a look.
HBCUs, they're a family. HBCUs, they see you.
What I took away from the HBCU experience was H means home.
HBCUs nourish you from a social emotional standpoint.
My supervisor, who was there for the residence hall I lived in, gave his phone number to my parents. So I'm 23 years old and he gave his phone number to my parents and said, if you need anything, you call me and I'll make sure that he's okay, he's taken care of while he's having this experience here.
They cheer for you. HBCUs, they were designed specifically for students that look like me.
From the college president, to my professors, to the student body, to the people in the cafeteria, even the groundskeepers were Black and brown faces. I had never seen that before.
When I think about the BC in HBCU, I think about Black culture. I think about learning some things that I did not know about my own culture.
To be a part of the majority was just an experience that was extremely empowering. From the care of the professors to engaging on an intellectual level with my peers who looked like me, who shared similar experiences as me, propelled me into a place of confidence, of self-assurance. I didn't realize that I was missing until I was on the campus of Hampton University.
The U stands for unity. And I would say that in the context of once you graduate from an HBCU, you are always part of that university.
Then to establish the camaraderie with members from other HBCUs, Spelman and Morehouse, Howard, North Carolina A&T. There's a family bond there.
They went as individuals and they left as family.
The HBCU is a great place to go because those connection points are like no other.
People often made the argument, why do you want to go to HBCU? It's not the real world. Ladies and gents, let me tell you, no college is the real world. Whether you're at Harvard, Yale, or somewhere else, they're designed that way. They're designed to be insular, where it's a place of academic and intellectual enrichment. HBCUs are no different.
For 4 years, I was in this culture and this space that was so different than what I experienced.
It was a place where the people there genuinely loved me. They genuinely uplifted me. It was a place that had a focus for being leader of America in the global community. And I knew that that's what I wanted.
My parents had always told me I could be anything I want. And at Morehouse, that dream came true. They backed it up.
What a powerful message. Very, very powerful. And getting a chance to hear multiple perspectives from our teachers and our educators right here in MCPS, and listening to why we made that decision, and person after person, story after story, was that it was the best experience of our life. So we're going to jump over to answering some questions about the Divine Nine organizations on campus. And then we're going to wrap up by answering questions about preparing for college and opening up the floor so that students can ask questions, because we're here to answer your questions.
I'll start with the Divine Nine question. So what I'll do is, this one will go to Serenity Moore. Did you join your organization in undergrad? And if so, what inspired you to join your Divine Nine organization?
Thank you. Again, I'm happy to be here. I am a graduate of the most illustrious organization, Hampton University. And I'm also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. I got my little earrings in just so y'all can see where I'm at, okay? All right, so I actually joined Delta Sigma Theta in undergrad. And the reason I joined is because in high school, I had an experience with a woman doing some community service, and she really shifted my understanding of the power that I had to change the things that were in my space. And so from then on, I just was seeking and looking and trying to figure out, how can I be a part of these little movements that are really working to change people's lives and do something that is really, really meaningful. So when I went to Hampton, when I got there, the Deltas were running the yard. So that also helped with the decision. But their core values, the honesty, the integrity, the persistence, and just our desire to consistently try to provide for people and communities in under-resourced spaces. And so we had a lot of fun. We took a lot of trips. We still do all of those things. We are just coming off of a trip from Bermuda with my entire line. But at the same time, we do a lot of work to make sure that we are uplifting people who deserve access, who are struggling to overcome oppressive systems. And so it was an experience that has changed my life forever, and I'm forever in debt to it.
Thank you for sharing that. And I speak for all of us. You know, the Divine Nine and those Greek letter organizations have made such great contributions to the development of students at HBCU. So we appreciate you and all of you who do that, who serve in that work. And the next question will come from Clark.
As the member of Alpha Phi, Ms. Khadija Barkley, Could you tell us what is the Divine Nine and how is your organization involved with the community?
Thank you, Mr. Montgomery. The Divine Nine, I think we mentioned that earlier. They are all 9 African-American fraternities and or sororities that are, national and international, and they serve communities. So there are chapters of these organizations that are on college campuses, not just HBCU college campuses, but most college campuses have the Divine Nine. So there are undergraduate chapters and there are also graduate chapters. And they are all kind of overseen or kind of organized by the National Panhellenic Council. So, but I think the most important part of these organizations is really why I joined Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and that is community service. Each of these organizations have a keen focus, a laser-like focus on supporting the community. So it might be about spreading information about COVID-19 and the importance of getting vaccinated in terms of a health and human services focus. It might be holding food drives for people that have food insecurity. It might be like we just finished a huge focus on health, women's health, heart health, where the colors of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated are salmon pink and apple green. And so when we focus on heart health, we have this term that says pink goes red. So while we're focusing on heart health, we have a huge focus on, making sure that people are taking care of themselves and knowing their numbers and identifying whether they have high blood pressure or cholesterol. And those are the kinds of things that we do in the community to make sure that we are uplifting individuals. And for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the term is service to all mankind.
Thank you so much, Ms. Barkley. We are going to ask one of our student panelists to answer the next question. Lillian Carr is a graduate. Well, Lillian, I'll let you introduce yourself, but we are just so excited that you're here. And I'll ask you your question, and then if you could share your experiences and speak from an MCPS student perspective. So based on your experiences, at Hampton University, what were some of the qualifications for admissions? And did you have to take any honors, AP, or college preparatory courses? And if so, did you find them useful?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Lillian Carr. I am a current freshman strategic communication major, leadership studies minor, attending the Hampton University. So I attended Clarksburg High School, and basically, while in high school, I was in a program called the MCABSE program, which offered me the many opportunities. I was always in honors classes, always in AP classes. Over the course of my high school career, I took 10 AP classes. Now, for you, AP classes might not be your thing, but I do think that it's important that you do take honors courses to just kind of prepare you for college and prepare you for the curriculum that you are about to enter into. As far as like admissions and qualifications, I would say that of course your SAT score matters, your ACT score matters, depending on what you choose to take. For me, I decided that the ACT, for me, I think the ACT is more tailored to Black students or students of color. And so I chose to take the ACT. I did take both, but I continuously took the ACT. For you, that could be totally different, but that is super important to think about when you're studying for the test and taking the test, because it is important, especially for some scholarships too. Also, your GPA. It is critical that you really think about the importance of your GPA and the classes that you're taking and how rigorous they are, because your GPA matters. It is important to maintain your GPA, not only for scholarships, but you want to be competitive when you are applying for these schools. Now, you could have an amazing GPA and amazing test scores, but if you are not in extracurricular activities or doing something to set yourself apart, you don't look competitive. So find something that you're passionate about, find something that you're interested in, and stick to it, because that is going to show colleges that you are more than a student. Now, you're gonna have the opportunity to express this in your application when you are applying to colleges. So in that, you'll be able to do that in your essay. So it can really come down to your essay determining whether or not you are going to get into these institutions. So I'm a military child, so I've moved around every 3 to 4 years. Meaning like every 3 to 4 years, my life changed. So I had to overcome adversity, overcome obstacles to become the person that I am today. I moved to Clarksburg, Maryland, my freshman year of high school. By the end of my freshman year, I was class president, and I remained class president all the way through high school. That's what I stuck to. So find something to stick to, find something that makes you look competitive and that you're passionate about, and you're gonna be top tier. So you are capable of doing anything you put your mind to. Just do it.
Girl.
Hey, man. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. If you want to just unmute for a minute and do it, that's the way
Yes. Thank you, Lillian.
Oh my God.
Now, I have to unmute. I see you're unmuted, Mr. Haynes. You know we're proud right now. I am so proud of Lillian right now. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say. Go ahead.
Okay, so at this point, we'll turn it over. One last question for Lauren to ask of one of our students.
Lillian for president. Yeah. And I just want to point out before acknowledging another student that Lillian Carr is also a recipient of a MCABSE scholarship. And so our organization really celebrated and honored all of the hard work that she was speaking of while she was an MCPS student. And so our next question is for another MCPS student, Kwam. Kwam, we want to know, did you make an early decision when deciding to go to school or a regular decision? And can you explain the difference between the two? And how did you decide what prompted you to make your decision when going to school?
Well, I made a regular decision when applying to Howard University. My name is Kwame Dunsi. I am currently a sophomore, broadcast journalism major at Howard University, and I attended Clarksburg High School. Yes, I made a regular decision when going to Howard University. The difference between the early decision and the regular decision is that with the early decision, when you apply and you get your decision back, and if they accept you into the university, then, you have no choice but to attend. While with the regular decision, it's normal, you get to make your own choice if you want to go or not. And in terms of attending Howard University, it definitely was not my first choice. I didn't apply till like a week before the deadline in February of 2018, I believe. And while I was waiting for my application decision, that's when I really fell in love with the university. I found myself just searching up, every little thing about it, searching up the homecomings on YouTube, because that's all over YouTube, and just, really investing myself into the university and, fall in love with it as, I was awaiting my decision. And then, I ended up getting accepted into the university, and yeah.
Fantastic, Kwam. And again, celebrations to our young males. We work in MCPS. Yes, those is a group.
Give it up for Kwam.
They are going to college, and so celebrations, and we're just so proud of him and too.
Alrighty.
So Lauren, and we'll turn it over to you to open one last question.
All right, sounds good. We want to make sure that we allow our MCPS students, our alumni, to answer one last question. And so we're going to turn the mic back over to Lillian to share a little bit about how your connections and relationships help foster your networks as you matriculate personally and professionally. So I guess speak a little bit about the connections that you've made here in MCPS and how that has supported you and the connections that you're making at Hampton University.
Right. So a huge thing for me is leadership and service. So I love to give back to others and really pour back into the community and especially like my fellow peers. So basically for me, as far as like MCPS, I would say that with the programs that I was involved in, it really gave me the opportunity to meet people and really make those connections. So for instance, Miss Shella Cherry, she is the student service learning coordinator, and she's now the director of student connections with MCPS. And so I was able to connect with her my sophomore year of high school. And I mean, just people like her, not even just her, but it's important to really foster those relationships and make those connections because, you know, later on it's like, hey, Miss Cherry, like I want to do this for the student body. How can we make this happen? So it's really about fostering those relationships and making those connections and being personable. I mean, when you reach out to people, like you don't want to just make them think that you're just coming to them for, you know, something that they can do for you. What can you do for them? What do you offer? What do you bring to the table? So you really have to think about those things when you're talking to people and you're making connections because they want to see something more. They want you to stand out. So that's just my advice on that piece.
Thank you so much, Lillian, for that sound advice. And hopefully our student participants that are here are leaving with a lot more information and excitement and advice about attending an HBCU. So I'm going to toss our mic over to our host, Mr. Troy Body.
Wow, this has been an outstanding evening. It's been wonderful to hear so many different stories. To have that feeling of being back on campus once again and sharing this space with so many HBCU graduates. I feel really good tonight, and I hope our students have gained some information. And we want to welcome you home. We want to welcome you to an HBCU. You'll be in good hands, and we have your back all along the way. So whatever HBCU you choose is the right choice for you. And so we want to thank you all for joining us this evening. We hope that you got additional information and insight to what it's like to be on an HBCU campus. And as we close out this evening, I'm going to toss it back over to my Howard University sisters, Lauren Holmes, the president of MCABSE, and Dr. Karen Cruz, who is the director of student well-being and achievement. So again, thank you for letting me host this evening and engage with such awesome and amazing educators and students. And good evening as I toss the mic over.
Thank you so much, Mr. Body, and thank you everyone for attending our event tonight. We hope that the information that was shared, the history of HBCUs, discussing what an average day on campus may look like or campus life, even just learning about all of our teachers and our educators that went to HBCUs. Hopefully you are walking away with a lot more information. And as you think about considering and exploring attending a historically Black college or university, I really want you to take a moment to remember that at HBCU is the perfect place to find your place and find your space and to truly be embraced. And that is probably the biggest takeaway. And so we're going to share some closing remarks with you, and I'm going to toss the mic over to our visionary for this event, Dr. Karen Cruz.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you. I am just so overwhelmed right now with joy. This has been an amazing evening. Just hearing from all of our MCPS, HBCU alumni and students, it has just been an amazing evening. I do want to also put in a plug that I am a two-time HBCU grad, both Howard University and Bowie State University. I also wanted to just share that, you know, I hope for all the students that were that participated tonight, that you were able to hear the pride and feel the pride from the staff that are represented here tonight about their HBCUs. It is an experience like none other.